Hello, this is Mr. Mola for section 6-2, solving systems by substitution. Alright, so in 6.1 we learned how to solve by graphing. This time we're going to learn by substitution. Okay, so this one will probably be a little more popular depending on how the problem is set up. This one's really nice when it already gives you x is something or y is something, because then it's just plugging it in. If it's not, then graphing is probably the best, or what we'll learn next section is elimination. That'll probably be the favorite one of the bunch, just because you can use it for all kinds of problems. So substitution. So we pretty much have 5 steps here. So we need to solve for one variable in at least one equation, and it says if necessary, because some of these problems it'll already give you y equals this or x equals this. Some problems it won't, so we might not even have to do step 1. Step 2, substitute the resulting equation to the other equation. Okay, so if it says y equals 4, well then we know in the next equation y is still going to equal 4. Solve that equation to get the variable. Okay, and then we need to substitute it in to get the other one, and then step 5 is just writing it as an ordered pair. So something like this. So both of them say y equals x minus 6, y equals 2x minus 8. Okay, they both say y equals. These are the ones we like, because we can skip step 1 of solve for a variable because it already says y equals. Okay, so since I know y equals this and y equals this, well, that kind of means that those two equal each other. So I'm just going to set this up as x minus 6 equals 2x minus 8. And we know that's true because this equals y and this equals y, which means this has to equal this and this has to equal this. And now we're really just going back to section 2 and solving for x. This is a positive 2x, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Subtract 2x from both sides, and I end up with, now I have x minus 2x is a negative 1x, minus 6 equals a negative 8. I need to get rid of that minus 6, so I'm going to add 6, add 6. So then I'm left with negative 1 times x equals negative 2. That's negative 1 times x, so I need to divide by negative 1. Also cancel, divide by negative 1. Negative 2 divided by negative 1 is a positive 2. Okay, so now I know one of my answers. X is 2. I still need to find out what y is going to be. Okay, so I solved it. I put it in. Now I need to substitute my original, or substitute what I just found out into my original equation. Does not matter which one. I think this top one looks simpler. Well, let's figure out what y is now that I know x is 2. So I have, instead of x minus 6, I'm going to put in a 2 minus 6. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. So I'm left with, let's write it out. So y equals 2 minus 6 instead of x minus 6. So y equals negative 4. So then I know my two answers are going to be 2, negative 4. And then as always, we can go back and double check these just in case I want to make sure. So if my y is negative 4, so negative 4 equals 2 minus 6. We just did that. Yep, 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Or I can plug it in over here. Negative 4 equals 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 equals negative 4. It works. I know I did it right. Okay, so you don't have to go back and double check it. But again, something where we can always go back to make sure that we did the problem right. We can go back and double check. Okay, these problems are going to be a little more difficult because they don't say y equals or x equals right away. It says x plus y equals negative 3 and x minus y equals negative 1. So we need to make them say x equals or y equals. So let's make this top one say y equals. So that means I need to get rid of this positive x. So to get rid of that positive x, I need to subtract x from both sides. So minus x, minus x. Remember, these aren't like terms, so I can't subtract them. So I'm left with y equals negative x, minus 3. And then I'm not going to touch my bottom one, so x minus y equals a negative 1. Okay, and now I'm going to go back and do what I just did on that problem from before. So one step harder than the earlier problem, otherwise these are completely the same. So I know y equals negative x minus 3. So I have x minus, and instead of that y, I'm going to put that negative x minus 3 equals a negative 1. So instead of that y, I put x minus 3, or negative x minus 3. Okay, so I have this minus minus. So minus minus makes plus, so I have x minus minus x, which is going to give me a 2x. And then I have minus minus 3, which is going to give me a plus 3. And it equals negative 1. I need to get x by itself, so I need to get rid of this 3, so minus 3 here. Those will cancel, minus 3 here. Those will cancel, so I'm left with 2x equals negative 4. And then I need to divide both sides by 2. And my x I will find out is negative 2. Alright, and then same thing as before. Now that I know my x is negative 2, I write it up here in my pair so I don't forget it. I need to figure out what y is. And again, it does not matter which one I plug it in for. Whichever one ends up looking easier for you. So let's pick this top one again. So negative 2 plus something gives me negative 3. And I know that's going to be negative 1. Okay, and let's end up trying that down here. So if I think my x is negative 2, I'll put negative 2 in there, minus, if I think my y is negative 1, so minus negative 1, does that equal negative 1? Well, negative 2 minus minus turns into a plus. Negative 2 plus 1, yes, that is negative 1. I know I did the problem correctly.